Chessman Dan, playing chess every day into Travi and I beat Melina with a stick. Today's recap, I didn't play too many games today. I focused a lot on studying, a little bit of analysis of why I think I've been doing really bad at the King's Indian defense, and that is because I haven't been playing it right. The King's Indian defense, you can play it against any opening except the King's Pawn opening. The moment you play it as King Pawn's opening, it turns into the Perch defense, and I'm just not at that high enough level to play that Perch defense. Regardless, I spent a lot of my time studying London system against weird moves, as well as I'm slowly learning how to play the Carl Khan. Malini Weenie, if you're watching this and you want to know what the Carl Khan is, stay tuned. So today you're going to see a live example of me playing the London system against weird moves. What do I mean by weird moves? I mean moves that just aren't logically sound. At Arlo, Elo, a lot of people I noticed play this. However, I've been studying Gotham Chess's London system, and he has some sidelines of weird openings, and you're gonna see real shortly. So you're starting out the London system. Start off with the Queen's Pawn opening. Here's the weird move. One of the weird moves that you might see in the London system is an early knight to c6. Why is this a weird move? It's just really limiting. If you see here, a better move probably would have been here, right? And then it would have continued. This is a really good play against the London system, right? Because then I would go here, and my opponent, pretty even. This is a really good way to combat the London system. However, with a knight c opening, anytime there's an early knight c6, I've been learning how to evolve the London system into a queen gambit style. You can see here. So here, I defend the pawn and bishop. He brings up both knights, and this is where the queen's gambit style kind of takes. However, he took. Typically, in Gotham Chess video, right? A lot of times they might move this out, or they might do something weird like that. Usually it's like this is a pretty weird move I've seen a lot, and then this is kind of where the Queen's Gambit style happens. And I've seen a lot of times people try pinning my knight, and here this is a very nice position for me. But this is also a weird opening for black. So that's kind of what I've been practicing. However, my opponent just took the pawn. He took c4. And c4, and naturally take with bishop c6. Here my opponent moves his knight to e4. He's not threatening anything, or not anything that could that's too concerning. I developed knight to e2 with the intent of developing my knight to b3. And here, if my opponent were to take, it would be guarded. If we open up the evaluation board, pretty good opening. I feel really confident in this position. If you notice, another reason why knight to f6, an early knight to c6, excuse me, is super weird is by the time my opponent's trying to throw attacks at me, if we just take a moment, I'm way more developed. Yes, we traded some pieces, but my opponent he has his dark squared bishop developed. He has his knight and the pawn compared to me, right? So, Malini Weenie, don't attack so soon. Don't do weird openings. Here, he pins me. The idea of this pin is that I can't move my knight, right? Because if I were to move it, I'd be in check. The most logical sound, just two ways to go about it. A very natural thing to do is this. However, I personally believe that all my opponent has to do is go here, and then I would take, not the worst position, but I prefer, and which is the move I did, rook to c1. The idea being, if he were to take, I now develop my rook. And now, in the early game, this is a really nice position, especially compared to black. Black still has his major pieces hidden versus, all it takes for me now is, let's say my opponent decides to start developing. Okay, well, that wasn't the best one. I can move my pawn out here. Maybe they'll castle, I'll castle, and then I'm ready to attack queen side. And this is this is what I've been practicing at such a low elo. I think I struggle with the London system because I'm playing too mainline, and instead I should be focusing on these weird early scene knight to c6 moves. So here I move my rook to c1. He kicks out his bishop, pawn f5, does no threat at all. I'm assuming, yeah, I don't know why I did that. Here I now decide to push my pawn to a3. The idea with pawn a3 is, hey, either move your bishop or get taken. Here he just pulls out another g6. Maybe he thought that pawn was a bluff, so I decided to take. I didn't see this move coming in the sense of like, all right, he's probably gonna take that pawn back. However, if you look at this advantage, right? Yes, he moves his knight forward, but he loses a bishop, and I lost a pawn. So I'm up. That's a 3-to-1 exchange, and right. So like, let's say I did my regular next move. Yeah, like I just target the knight, and not much you could really do. And look at the evaluation board. Points, plus 6.4 advantage for white. So right now I have a really good opening. Here my opponent did a wise move, and that's defend the knight. If he wouldn't have not moved that pawn, I would have left his knight hanging. Here I don't know what I was thinking. The best move would have been to I could have moved my knight up here. That would have been really good because now I'm talking. This c7 pawn is super weak. It's only defended by the queen, and yeah, what could have occurred is that, let's say you would have gone here, it would have been a check. My opponent takes. Oh, actually, that would have been too bad. But regardless, maybe he goes here. This exchange not good. If he ignores it and goes here, now I'm taking his rook. Regardless, very weak pawn. I didn't see that. I think the reason why I moved my pawn to h3 is just pre-moving, I guess. Is that typically, if there was another knight on this side, it would have been really good because I'm defending the h4 pawn, or the h4 square. Not the best move. So here we're gonna move forward. I take the I take the rook. Here, we go into a little bit of a Mexican standoff. The best move in this case, right, would have been here. Actually, maybe not. Maybe to take this. And then he goes here. Oh, and then I would have taken. No? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to evaluate this myself. Yeah, that probably would have been the best move. Because then he would have moved, and then I would have taken it free. I could have gone there, but I could have gone here too. Regardless, I'm in a really good position. What I need to practice with is move order. This is such a great position. You go to the evaluation board at this point, almost point 20. And a lot of the games I've played recently, including the games I've lost, my opening averages has been like in the 95 plus. So my studying is working. However, I need to work on my middle game. And you can kind of see here in the middle game, I don't do so well. I'm still able to keep my head above water. We take. However, it's just not we're just doing exchanges at this point. And now we're in the end game. This end game, I'm still winning. I have a +3 advantage. However, it could have been way more. Kind of like you see previously, with the evaluation board, I could have been +20 advantage. I'm only +6, so I still have a firm lead. However, I still need to work on my middle game and my end game. So here, you're gonna see a little bit of cat and mouse here. I take this free pawn. I move my pawn up. Here's a good idea, Malini Weenie, if you're paying attention, if you're watching. If you notice, the only attacking piece my opponent has is a light squared bishop. So where should I move my pieces? The dark squares. Right? At this point, he has no threat. He could jump his whole pieces around, and he can't do much. Right? There's not much you could really do. I make a mistake here. I didn't notice. It wouldn't have been too bad. I left my rook hanging. He could have taken. If he would have taken, I still would have took him with the bishop. However, it's about the same, honestly. The endgame, he wouldn't have been able to stop me. You know, I made a 9. Regardless, I have a firm grasp. So here, we're dancing around. I move my pawn up to protect my rook. Here, my opponent moves his bishop up. Here, this is where my opponent makes a big mistake and he resigns. Is that I don't want to move my rook forward because it takes with the queen. He takes with the king. But the moment he moves his king back, this is called, I don't know what it's called, forking? It's checking. He's gonna have to move his king. And it's game over, it's made in 5. Here, the moment my opponent makes a mistake, he resigns and I win. Overall, lessons learned, keep studying. It's only, this is what, week 2, week 3? I've been losing a lot, however, my accuracy's been going up. And Malini Weenie, stay tuned to the Carl Khan.